اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, knowledge is of two types. Number one, knowledge which settles in the heart, that is beneficial knowledge. Number two, knowledge which is on the tongue, for example, devoid of practice and sincerity, that is the proof of Allah against man. For example, the knowledge will give evidence against the person that he did not practice despite having knowledge. Mentioned by Targhib. Uqba ibn Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to us while we were sitting in Sufa. He asked, which of you would like to go to the markets of Than or Aqiq and come with 2 valuable camels without having committed any sin? For example, stealing the camels, nor severing any ties of kinship. We replied, O Messenger of Allah, we would all love that. He said, for any of you to go to the masjid in the morning and study or read 2 verses of the Quran is better than 2 camels, 3 verses are better than 3 camels, and 4 verses are better than 4 camels. A like number of verses are better than a like number of camels. Mentioned by Muslim. Note, this means that any number of verses is better than any number of camels. 1 verse is better than 1 camel, 2 verses are better than 2 camels, and so on. Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when Allah desire good for a person, He gives him an understanding of deen. I am merely a distributor, and Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is the one who bestows. Mentioned by Bukhari. Note, the second part of this hadith means that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam distributes the knowledge. While understanding this knowledge, reflecting and pondering over it and practicing upon it are all inspired by Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam embraced me and made this supplication, O Allah, bestow him with knowledge of the Quran. Mentioned by Bukhari. Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the following are from among the signs of the final hour. Knowledge will be taken away, ignorance will be spread, alcohol will be consumed openly, and adultery will become common. Mentioned by Bukhari. Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, while I was sleeping, I was offered a bowl of milk. I drank so much of it that I saw the effects of satiation appearing on my nails. I then gave the leftover milk to Umar. The companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum asked, O Messenger of Allah, what interpretation do you give to it? He replied, knowledge. In other words, Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu will receive a large share of the knowledge of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mentioned by Bukhari. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a believer is never satiated with goodness. For example, knowledge, he continues listening to knowledge till death comes to him, and he enters paradise. Mentioned by Tirmidhi. Abu Dharr radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me, O Abu Dharr, if you go in the morning and learn a single verse of the Quran, it will be better for you than offering 100 rakats of salah. If you learn 1 chapter of knowledge, whether it is to be practiced upon at that time or not, it will be better for you than offering 1,000 rakats of salah. Mentioned by Ibn Majah. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, whoever comes to the masjid of mine, for example, Masjid Nabawi, with the sole purpose of learning some good or teaching it, then he is like a person waging jihad in the cause of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Whoever comes for any other purpose, he is like a person looking at the possessions of others. It is obvious that there is no benefit in looking at the possessions of others. Mentioned by Ibn Majah. Note, the above mentioned virtue applies to all masjids because they are all subservient to Masjid Nabawi. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, I heard Abu al-Qasim sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, the best of you are those who have the best character if they have a deep understanding of religion at the same time. Mentioned by Ibn Hibban. Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, people are like mines, just as they are gold mines and silver mines. Those who were the best before Islam are the best after embracing Islam, provided they have a deep understanding of Islam. Mentioned by Ahmad. Note, this hadith compares people to mines. Different mines have different metals. Some are more valuable, like gold and silver mines, and others are less valuable, like lime and coal mines. Similar, humans have different habits and qualities. Based on these habits and qualities, some enjoy a higher position, while others a lower position. As long as gold and silver remains in the mines, their value is not the same as when these metals are mined. Similarly, as long as a person remains concealed in the darkness of unbelief, kufr, then no matter how generous or brave he may be, he will not have the same value as when he embraces Islam and acquires a deep understanding of it. Abu Ma'mar radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever goes to the masjid with the sole purpose of learning or teaching good, he shall receive a reward similar to a pilgrim who performs a complete pilgrimage, Hajj. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, teach people about Islam, treat them softly, and do not be harsh with them. Mentioned by Ahmad. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu passed by the market of Medina. He stopped and announced, O people of the market, what has rendered you incapable? The people asked, what do you mean, O Abu Hurairah? He said, the inheritance of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being distributed and you are here. Why don't you go and take your share of his inheritance? The people asked, where is it? He replied, in the masjid. The people hastened to the masjid while Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu remained waiting for them to return. When they returned, he asked them, what happened? Why did you return? They said, O Abu Hurairah, we went into the masjid, but we did not see anything being distributed there. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu said to them, did you not see anyone in the masjid? They replied, indeed we saw some people offering salah, some others reciting Quran, and some others talking about issues concerning the lawful and the prohibited, halal and haram. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, how sorrowful is your plight. That is exactly what the inheritance of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. Mentioned by Tabarani. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when Allah Jalla Jalaluhu wills good for a person, He blesses him with understanding of the religion and inspires him to do what is correct. Mentioned by Tabarani. Abu Waqid al-Laythi radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, while the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting in the masjid with some people, 3 people approached. 2 of them came towards the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while one of them continued on his way. The 2 came and stood near the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of them saw a place in the circle and sat there. The other person sat behind them. As for the 3rd person, he turned and departed. When the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam terminated his assembly, he said, should I not inform you about these 3 people? As for one of them, he sought refuge in Allah, and so Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gave him refuge. As for the 2nd person, he felt shy, so Allah Jalla Jalaluhu withheld His mercy from him. As for the 3rd person, he turned away, and so Allah Jalla Jalaluhu turned away from him. Mentioned by Bukhari. Abu Harun al-Abdi Rahimahullah narrates from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala anhu that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, people from the east will come to you in order to study Islam. When they come to you, treat them well. Abu Harun said, when Abu Sa'id would see us, he would say, welcome to the people about whom the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised. Mentioned by Tirmidhi. Wasila ibn al-Asqa radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever seeks knowledge and acquires it, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu records 2 rewards for him. Whoever seeks knowledge and does not acquire it, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu records 1 reward for him. Mentioned by Tabarani. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to make amal upon whatever we have listened to, and may He give us the tawfiq to send this to others, inshallah. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayh.